All right. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Coffee Run. It's John from Pro Craps here on Casino Gaming TV. We have another downer of a day, man. I'll tell you what, it's been a couple in a row now. So here's the deal. Yesterday we talked about my good friend Regina from the Craps Angels, who we know passed over the weekend. Her and her husband were in a car accident last week, and she succumbed to the injuries over the weekend, which was ridiculously sad and totally unexpected. I also got the word, and so did we all yesterday. Now I knew this at the time of the show yesterday, but I couldn't really say anything because his family had announced. But we lost Howard Rock and Roller also yesterday. Howard, actually, let's go to his screen here. Was Howard was fighting cancer, pancreatic cancer, which is brutal. If you have ever had a family member who's dealt with cancers, cancer sucks in general. We know this. We did a whole fundraiser on it. We did a lot of deep dive on that, but pancreatic is the worst. It is the worst. It's painful. It's almost impossible to recover from. It's not good. And he had it. He got diagnosed in December, and he worked and suffered and pained through it all the way until just yesterday. So we lost Howard, kind of an icon in the craps world. Now, it came up last night. If you watched Jeff and Ed and Gargoyle's show, just how much Howard meant to everybody. Now, I didn't know him personally, so I don't have a whole lot of Howard stories to tell. We did talk on the phone a couple of times, and he actually kind of read me the riot act, and I'll tell that story at some point. But he kind of yelled at me one time on the phone, which was fun, with good reason and with good cheer. He did that. But anyway, he's a guy that he was part of the PAR group. He was part of the Golden Touch group. He's been a teacher of this game for 50 years. I mean, the guy is a legend. And he's not just a craps player. Howard's known for that in our community, but he's also an artist. He's also a musician. He's a wonderful man. This is a great picture of him, by the way, that his family put up. I think this is wonderful. I'll share a couple more pictures here. This is, of course, the iconic Howard Rock and Roller picture with the dice just sticking together and that look of determination. I love that picture. And here he is actually on the last dice cruise. So the cruise that I went on in April, he was supposed to be on it with us. Of course, he couldn't make it. But this was him teaching on the cruise prior to that one with a group of folks from Premier Casino Hosting. And what else do I have? One more picture I think I have here, which is, that's just a great shot. That's when I think of Howard, I think of this picture, and I think of this picture. Those are the two that kind of remind me when I just picture him in my head. But a guy that's going to be missed big time. He worked with so many people. He loved the game, and he was just a soft spoken, really just loving guy. And everybody who talks about Howard talks about him in the highest regard. I wish I would have got to meet him and know him more. But I'll tell you this, there's lots of good resources out there to get to know him. And I want to really call out Ed Robinson on this one, because Ed Robinson did a series a while back, and I was really singing his praises on this one because he did a series called Tales from the Table. And the impetus for that series was to bring some of these guys out of retirement, like Howard Rock and Roller and Bo Parker and Heavy and $5 Bill and some of these other Cashier's Cage, even, right? Some of these guys that you've heard about over the years but never got a chance to meet. And he wanted to interview them and get them on tape before they passed and before their time was up. And he did that. And I think Ed has done us all a great service by letting us hear their stories. I think guys like Howard, it's not just about the dice control, which I think people get kind of, locked in on some of these things. Howard was just a craps player and a lover of the game. And just these guys that played for 50, 60 years together, man, the stories they can tell, right? So I love the fact that Ed did Tales from the Table. There's the Hawaiian Crap Shooters interviewed him as well, way back. They did they trained with him and interviewed him a couple of times. And the first time I ever actually saw a really good deep dive on Howard was done by Dave Carlin from Same Bet. We're on his old Monday morning craps or Monday night crap show, right? He interviewed Howard, and really got into like Howard's past of the artwork and the paintings and the music and all that stuff. It just talk about a guy that's got some great stories. It's Howard, right? So Howard, you're going to be missed. I just wish I wish I would have got to know you. And yeah, so my heartfelt prayers and thoughts go out to you, to your family, and to the community at large. Everybody I know, Bo and a lot of these guys considered you a really close friend. I know that they're all torn up. So like yesterday, I would love to just spend a moment of silence here for everybody to kind of, and if you have a story or words for his family, put them in the chat. Just put a Howard in the chat and just speak your mind out there while I'm talking today. So let's just take a moment of silence and recognize Howard and his family. Okay. Um, wow. So I feel like I'm a little bit sick of being the bearer of bad news here, and I think somebody JR says it in here too. Um, John Patrick is also in nursing home. John Patrick, another legend of the game, right? That guy wrote a few books, put out just a few videos, maybe changed a few of our hearts and minds in terms of how to approach gambling in general, money management, discipline, that kind of thing. A lot of the way that I play is really comes from my learnings from Patrick, and he's fighting it too right now. The guy's like 92 years old or something like that. So it's these guys that were pioneers in the early days and really kind of rode the wild west a little bit before most of us came up are coming up to it. So anyway, enough sadness. Rest in peace, Howard. And appreciate all you brought to the game. A couple of quick announcements. I want to remind you all, if you're going to do it, if it's getting late, but the Brownwater Bash with Ed and everybody down in Biloxi is June 21st to 23rd. DiceCon right after that out in Vegas, June 24th to 26th. Those are two big events. DiceCon obviously will be much bigger. It's 100 and some people going out there. I had planned to go to both. I had planned to go to DiceCon through Brownwater. I was going to fly into Biloxi, play, and then fly to DiceCon from Biloxi and do the whole thing. But as you all know, I'm moving. We just bought a house, and our closing is that week. We're closing on the house that exact week. So it's all about cleaning up in here and packing our stuff and getting the closing and writing that big fat closing check and all that kind of stuff. So not in the cards for me this year, I think, to get to either of them. I'd love to. If I could sneak out, I will sneak out, but no guarantees. But I'd love for you to all get out there and tell the stories. So maybe when we come back, we'll have a little bit of storytelling after it's all done. And speaking of storytelling, we are working on something for Howard, by the way. I should go back and mention this. The gang, and by the gang, I mean all of your favorite YouTubers, are working on some kind of a scheduled Zoom call. We'll do like a crap chat kind of a thing, like just all on Zoom, sharing Howard stories and that kind of thing. That'll be on one of our channels probably later this week. I'm not sure when. Maybe we'll do it Friday, or maybe we'll do it like Monday night or something. We'll do a big thing on Howard, because everybody's got stories, and I'm no problem being the host on that one and letting everybody just kind of tell their tales and share some Howard love. So look for that soon. Also, I should probably do this too. Give me a second. Let me just change this screen here. That is not what you want to see. You want to see this. Give me my browser. Can you see that? On my YouTube page, let me get this down here. On my YouTube page, sorry for the weirdness of the screen, I put a community post out here that is the Hello Friends post. This is actually the post that why can't you all see this? Community. There it is. So this post here has all the notes from Howard's family, including links. You can see there's links in here to donate if you want to donate to the family. There's his obituary page where you can share your memories, send flowers, and that kind of thing. And also there's a link in here to Howard's artwork, so you can go buy some artwork from Howard too. So those are all shared here on the ProCraps community page, and I'll put those in Discord as well, so you can get those links. If you want to donate, leave memories, or buy his art, I would recommend you buy his art. He's actually really, really, really good. Anyway, I know I'm kind of roundabout there, but there's some of that for you. So, whew, boy. Guy said last night when they were doing their show, Jeff and them, Howard wanted the show to go on. So we're gonna have the show go on today. Yesterday, I could not continue the show. I was too broken up with all of it. It was like Howard and Regina both got that news within 15 minutes of each other. And I couldn't do a show yesterday. Today, I'm a little bit more ready to go. So let's get after it here. And let's go into kind of where we are. Craps for the Cure updates are these. We know the weekend. We know the location. We don't know the casino. So I'm working through that. I've got emails out, by the way, to people for interviews. I'm working on who's it going to be. For sure, we'll talk to Brian Holy Roller. For sure, we'll have David teaching us dice. I'm going to talk to Bo Parker about getting us a live lesson again, like we did last year. Trying to talk to Heavy. Haven't talked to him personally yet, but I will. I'm working on getting some other people out. I know George is going to be there. I know, I don't say I know, but I'm hoping that Gargoyle and maybe Ed can come out there. Maybe they'll do like what would be kind of fun is like to do a live episode of Casino Tears from the event. Like last year we did a live craps chat. Wouldn't it be great to have Ed and 10 Ton record their podcast live with us at the event? That'd be pretty damn cool, right? That's the kind of things I'm thinking of. So it's a lot of logistics to get this put together. I'm planning a Zoom call with the potential operations team, which is like me, Jeff, Dice DGen, Craig, Jen, Ian, others, this week, next week to kind of get the logistics in place. But that's where we are with all that stuff. And of course, we don't yet have the punch list done. It all stems from having the venue. Once the venue's locked in, everything can kind of come through and I can start locking folks in. What I'm really trying to do is, and we talked about this on the donations piece, right? Having you sort of pay to play at the table or donate to play at the table as one of our donation streams. But as part of that, you should know this. I'm working with the casinos pretty hard to get us fed and rooms. So if you're going to play on the table, you're going to be required to donate to the charity to earn your time at the table. But we're going to give you a room and we're going to give you food. So it's going to be a zero sum, right? The casino is going to help us out with that. That's part of the negotiation process. So it's not like it's going to cost you a bunch to do this. It's for charity, but we're trying to, make that work. So give me time to kind of get the shell of this thing figured out. We're working through it. So it's going to be a long summer leading into fall to get all this done, but it's going to happen. Daily paycheck today was the second day we won 2 days in a row in June. We won last week, of course. I won yesterday. Yesterday I threw left-handed in honor of my friend Regina. I did not throw well, but I threw well enough to win. So I'll take that for what it is. Today I threw from the end, barrel roll style, which is an off-axis toss from the end. Howard loved to shoot from the end. He loved his off-axis tosses. And I shot barrel roll today from the end, which is a throw that actually Jacob from Wager Me This taught me how to do. It's just a fun roll. It's one of these things where it just looks cool in the air and the dice go flying all over the place and it's, it's random as hell, but it looks fun. Whatever. We shot good today. We actually had 2 rollers that were 10 plus and we made our paycheck easy. We made a little bit of money in our other play. It was fun and simple. And it was good. So we're doing okay in June. Overall, we're, look at that. We're 29,765. We're just about at 30,000 in profit. We're going to hopefully cross that number tomorrow, which is an exciting place to be, right? That means we'll have $40,000 in our 401g account that we're building. We started with 10. We're about to have 40,000 in there. We are potentially going to be halfway to 100 sometime this month. If I don't run into what is going to happen. We're not going to be 30-0 this month, right? We're going to lose a couple times. We're going to lose a few $1,000 along the way. Hopefully though, we can outpace that and cross the big number. Wouldn't it be cool to cross the big number this month and be out there with these massive bankrolls? I'm having fun with this series. It's taken a long time. That compounding interest thing is building. And think of it like we started with 10 grand, winning $100 a freaking day. $10,000 buying for 1,000, win 100. And it's like they say, when you're a kid, if you put $1,000 in the bank when you're 10 years old, when you're 80 years old, you'll have $1 million. That's kind of what we're doing. We're just putting it in there and tiny interest, but it compounds up. And now we're to the point where the compounding nature of that is just, it's singing to us right now. We're doing really good. So let's keep that going. Let's keep it going. I'm going to have to find some new ways to play because the money's getting too big to play with these small strategies. So we're going to have to find different ways to do it. Let's see. I'm going to actually filter comments here by PCs just in case there's something else I want to see. Jen says, pre-sale the tickets, see how many will pay to play for sure. For sure. That will be a pre-sale. Once I have a lock-in day, I'll have a schedule put up. You will pre-buy the tickets now. That way you're done. You've got your money in. Charity's got the money. It'll be totally pre-done. That is the entire plan for sure. Thanks for reminding me and everybody else of that, Jen. Let's see what else. Ian, by the way, I didn't put this up. Saturday, we're meeting at 4 o'clock, Snoqualmie Casino private table. One of my favorite casinos here in Seattle. I can't probably go. We're moving my aunt. My aunt's moving to a memory care facility, so we're going to be down in Southern Washington taking care of her move. So I probably can't make it there. Maybe at the end of the night. But yeah, what else is going on? I know I'm bouncing around here today. I'm out of my normal rhythm here, but let's see what else. Dan says, tell John to throw the barrel roll or from stick right with left hand all the time, right? I should always throw those two throws. I did really good last couple of days. Yeah, Tom, nice. The older generation, D-Day is tomorrow. And another reminder, see, again, look at this. Like tomorrow's D-Day. It's a whole thing. Isn't it a whole thing? It's just so much is going on right now. God, it just, anyway, let's have some fun. We are a day behind also in our series here, in our gambling series. We were going to do yesterday, talk about strategies. Today was supposed to be talking about goals. We missed yesterday's lecture, so I'm going to back up and we're going to do yesterday's lecture today. I'll reset all the video thumbnails later, but let's rewind and get into strategy. Okay. So here's the thing. I got to remind you every day of this, right? About bringing it all together. We've done the gambling 101, 201, 301 series, right? Mindset, bankroll, math. Now we're going to get into like how to play, how to win, right? And it all stems from these core principles here, right? Having goals. We'll talk about goals tomorrow. Having good strategy. We'll talk about strategy today, more about building strategies across the course of 401. Having good bankroll to be able to play the way you want to play and account for your losses, having a good mindset to connect everything together and having the discipline to stick to your goals. Okay. Now your goal might just be to never leave. Your goal might be, I'm going to hit a home run. That's fine. Be disciplined then. If your goal is to go out there and say, I'm going to take $500 and I'm going to win 5K or nothing, that's a goal. And it takes discipline to sit there and let your money sit $3,200 across when you build it up and not pull it down. That's discipline. That's as much discipline as it is to walk with that money, right? Remember that there's a connective tissue there that everybody has, and it's got to match all of it. So anyway, connect it all. Here we go. Strategy building. We're going to get into, again, gambling 401 is all about how to win, how to craft a winning way to play. Winning way to play in air quotes. That could be a lot of things put together, strategies and goals and bankroll management. And a lot of stuff rolls into this. I want to introduce to you today some high level concepts about strategy building the way that I see it. Now, we need to define, I think, what is a strategy. Now, there are people out there, and you know who I'm talking about, who really don't like strategies. There are people out there, you know who I'm talking about, who really love strategies. There are guys who have put out 1,000 strategy videos of their own. There are guys who have put out 1,000 strategy videos where they review other people's strategies and roll them out. There are guys out there that will never put a strategy video out and say, just play this one way. This is what you do. Just roll the dice good and bet like a normal person, and you're fine. It doesn't matter. Okay. What is a strategy? It is a planned approach to how you play. That's it. If you break it down, a strategy is just the size of your bets, your bet selection, where they go, and the pressing or betting pattern. That's it. Strategy is, where do my bets go? How much is out there? And what am I doing when the bets win? Am I pulling it down? Am I pressing? Am I doing something else? That's it. You give it a name, you give it structure, you put rules around it. You can make it more complicated, but at the end of the day, everybody plays, quote unquote, a strategy. How much am I putting out there? Where am I putting it? What am I doing with the wins? Period. That's strategy. Nothing else than that. A strategy can be either rigid or fluid. Rigid meaning, today, as a good example, I put my money on every single number. Every time I hit, I would collect. The next hit, I would press. The next hit, I would collect. The next hit, I would press. It's a rhythm, rigid rhythm. I never variated from that or never fluctuated from that. Okay. Rigid. Your strategy can be fluid. You can say, you know what? I'm seeing something else that I want to switch to it. Also strategic. If you look at it that way, you can view it both ways, right? Strategists who make a strategy called something typically are pretty rigid, right? Energy players or trendy players or players who have what you might call wisdom or experience might have a more fluid way of playing where they're kind of morphing with the table. It's okay. It's still a strategy. It's still all about bet sizing, bet selection, and betting patterns. That's what it comes down to. Okay. Strategies are nice because they provide structure, they provide consistency, and it gives you some trust in what you're doing. Okay. And again, they just put me that they're the idea of a strategy or a strategic way to play is all about providing that structure. Okay. Strategies, I think, have goals. When you build a way to play, when you're creating your own strategy, it's got a goal, right? One goal, manage your risk, right? A strategy helps you control how much money you're willing to risk losing, right? Again, that's the bet sizing. How many bets am I putting out there? How much is each bet? On the roulette table, am I doing 2 dozens at 4 units? Am I doing 1 dozen at 2 units? Am I doing 2 columns in 1 dozen? It's where it is. How much money from my bankroll can I risk? That's your first part. Your strategy manages that. Okay. Your strategy can be designed to extend playtime. You might create a way that lets you play for a long time, winning very little over a very long time, which is okay. Play a long time with the same bankroll. You may have a strategy that's tuned the other way. Hit a goal quick with little effort, little time, maybe extra exposure. Your strategy might be tuned to hit a goal of extra profit. Maybe it's a little higher risk, but the reward is enormous, right? Again, your strategy, when you create one, think ahead of time. What's the goal of my strategy? Am I looking to minimize risk, maximize my playtime, reduce my playtime, or maximize the hit, right? When you're looking to find ways to play or strategize your time at the tables, this is the important piece, is have that ahead of time. And not every strategy does the same thing the same way. They don't all hit these goals in the same way. And that's why I think it's cool to have multiple ways to play. Okay. Why do we strategize? I want control. I want a structured way to manage my money and help me drive my decisions. It keeps me consistent, following a consistent approach rather than doing random crap, right? Potentially profit. Some strategies are looking to recover losses and make profits over time, right? You strategize, I think, to give yourself control. The most important thing to me is control and consistency. It's like if you're out there playing, whether it's roulette, blackjack, craps, whatever your game is, if you're doing something kind of on a rhythm, you're consistent about it. You don't have to think about it. If you're going to be a 3-unit bet, take the win, come down to 2 units, and then go up and pull, that's a consistent way to play. It's a strategy, right? It's a way to be consistent, be in control of your money, understand what your profit's going to look like, and never make a mistake. I think that's a big part of it, okay? When you're applying strategies to the way you play, here's the thing. Every strategy, as we talked about, has a different goal. They don't all fit all situations. You cannot go $64 across on a craps table and expect to win 10 grand. That's not the situation for that strategy. Okay. You shouldn't be out there after you've lost 400 bucks, putting $12 on the 6 and 8 in a craps table or $10 on a dozen and plan for a home run. That's not the situation for that strategy. Okay. You got to know your strategies, what situations they play best in. Is this a strategy that's best played for a long, slow run? Is it a best strategy for a situation where I have low bankroll? Okay. Know what the bankroll that needs. Know the goal that your strategy is designed for, that you're designing for. And then you got to test the crap out of it. You got to run it in automation. We've talked about using Crapsy or some of the roulette simulators or the Baccarat simulators. Run it. Run it, run it, run it. See where the holes are. Practice, practice, practice. Ed Robinson from Roll to Win always says, play like you practice, practice like you play, right? What does that mean? That means if you're doing something complex, and I'm looking more at roulette and craps because those are tables where you have bets kind of all over the place. The other games are more, just one pile of chips. If your strategy requires you to bump up bets or move things around as things are happening, you've got to practice that. Get yourself a felt and practice the calls that you're going to make. Practice your moves with your chips on the roulette table, because the bane of a strategy is this: I've made something complex, or I made this thing and I'm forgetting how to do it. Or in the moment I'm scared, or in the moment I don't have the right color chips. How do I take care of it? Right? Practice all that stuff. So you, at the table, you're not kind of confused by what you're doing and making a dumb mistake. Now, if your strategy is so complex that you have to practice it so much that you're going to make mistakes, maybe the strategy is too complex. Just putting it out there, but think about that. And be willing to switch around, right? There are going to be times where in a session, your bankroll will, of course, fluctuate. You may have hit your goal and have some excess, and that excess is actually kind of a small bankroll, right? Switch to a small bankroll play to play with your excess. You may be behind and are chasing a little bit. That's cool, right? It happens all the time to everybody. Find a way or pick a strategy that's good at short-term recovery, that's relatively safe, okay? If you're not getting what you want in the moment, there's no shame in switching. If you're down, if you're up, whatever. But you have to know what you have in your toolkit. If you've got 4 or 5 ways to play, pull one out that matches your situation, your goal, plus your bankroll, plus where you're at in the current moment. If you don't do that, you're not being really very strategic about it. I think that's an important thing. Some people just go out and say, I'm going to do this every single time. I'm going to play 130 inside, and that's going to be my thing all the time. Shit runner go blind. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to trust the math and let it work out. Some people will say, you know what? I got beat. I'm going to switch out of that to something a little bit less volatile and irk back and eke in some wins here to get back to where I can play that way again. That's totally fine. But you got to be able to apply what you know and have your strategies that match those situations in your toolkit. That's a very important thing. So what are strategies? Let's come back to it again. The last kind of note here about this. What are strategies? It's a way to remember what we're doing so we don't screw it up. It's something to practice doing well so we don't screw it up. Ultimately, strategies, especially in craps and roulette, they're just a name that we give something. So you can map that something to a situation or a goal so you don't do something wrong and screw it up, right? That's it. Strategy, the base definition of it to me is that it's a name you give something, a way to play. It's a name that you give to a way to play, and it's something you practice so you don't screw it up. Very simple. They keep us on task. They keep us consistent, and they keep us on the straight and narrow is what I say. So if you're going to play a way where you've got $30 on the 6 and the 8, and every hit you're going to increase by 12, increase by 12, increase by 12, that is a strategy that you have practiced. You know what your press call is. You know what your expectations are. You know that in 3 hits, you're going to have X amount of money in your rack. You know the whole thing, right? Practice it so you don't screw it up. Don't get caught up in the moment, right? It keeps you here on task so you don't go on tilt. I think that's the magic of strategies. So all that said, high level view of what a strategy is, in my view, are those things. It's a strategic way to play in certain situations and know what you've got in your toolkit. You can pull it out in the right spot. Now, we're going to spend the next 3-4 weeks talking about ways to craft strategies. Okay. We're going to talk about goals coming up and ways to map strategies to goals. We're going to talk about exposure so you can understand the ways that strategies get stress tested as you're building them out. And then we're going to look at all the different pressing patterns, collection patterns, ways to kind of attack tables and games so that you can say, you know what, the way that I want to play to hit this particular goal, I'm going to take that piece, that piece, that piece, and that piece, and that's my strategy. That's totally fine. If your strategy is no more complex than saying, whatever's happening, I'm going to press, fine. Keep it simple, stupid is cool too, right? So there it is. That's my my high level look at strategy play. We'll get way more into the details here as we go. We've got, again, I think I got 20 something lectures to do on this topic. This is just the high level set, the definition of a strategy. Okay. Remember what you're doing so you don't screw it up. Give it a name so you don't forget what it is, and know what every kind of way to play or what every strategy is good at. Some of them are good at home runs. Some are good at recovery. Some are good at paychecks. Some are good at keeping you alive forever so you can be there for hours. Know what you have in your pocket. All right. And that's all I got to say about that. So let's move ahead and look at questions, comments, concerns, all the stuff. I'm going to go, I'm going to go filter here for PC comments. If there's any PC comments, you can leave me a note here. We can just chat it out to close the show out. Mark the point. Ryan says you have to know if you are down $1,000 and if you drop your unit size, you're playing, it's harder to grind back, much less profit. I say this all the time, right? I say this all the time. One of our shows coming up here is going to be about recovery. And here's a good example of that. Okay. If you're going to bet, let's just take craps as an example. You're going to bet 160 across, let's say 160 across. You're going to win that bet. You're going to win between 35 and $50 with your 160 across bet. You're going to win that 24 times. You're going to lose it 6 times over the course of a massive amount of time, right? That's your expectation. You're going to lose a lot of money every once in a while, all of it. When you lose that money, let's say your goal was $100, right? You need one win, or you need 3 wins, right? If you're at 160 across, 3 dice rolls, you're at $100 and you're out. If you don't get it, if you lose the 160, right? Now, not only are you down 160, but in order to win your goal, which was 3 units, you got to win the 6 that you lost. Now you got to win 9 units. This is what Ryan's talking about here with regards to recovery, right? So strategically, this is where we get into pulling your strategies out of your toolkits, right? Is your best way to recover that loss to go back and do it again and hope that you get nine hits? Or is your best way to reduce down, grind for a while, grind out $30 6 times with small bets to keep yourself safe until you're back to square again, and then go after it with the bigger bets? This is what I'm talking about, being strategic. And your bankroll drives some of that. How much are you down? How much are you willing to risk to get back to it, right? You got to consider these things as you're going. This is what separates, I think, the beginning player from the more advanced player, right? Going this whole notion of bring enough money for 10 shooters, go 160 across 10 times, get burned seven times in a row. To get the $100 win, you get burned for 167 times in a row. What's 7 times 6? 42. You got to win 42 times to get back to where you need to be, right? That's a hard place to be, to put yourself in when that happens. So think about those kind of things when you're crafting strategies and crafting your play style and mapping all that to your goals. So that's kind of that's my thoughts on that. Let's see here. Duracell says, be honest, have you hit the like button to support free and I do not charge for the content. You know that, right? Although I will charge you someday for the book. All these lectures I'm doing here are going to go into a book someday. I'm going to make a book. I'm going to transcribe all this stuff I'm saying some days, write it down to a book, and you can pay me $1 for the book someday. Good morning, El Toro. It's good to see you here, my friend. I haven't talked to you in a little bit. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. What does Louis say? Agree with Waylon. Know what the shooter's giving you. Play towards Randy's number. Waylon says all strategies will lose. Every strategy is a loser at some point, right? If you play it long enough, you'll lose. You're hoping that in the short run you can dodge it, right? That's all we can. The best we hope for is to dodge it in the short term, for sure. Let's see. I think that's all. I don't see any more comments, no more questions. You can ask me anything you want to. I got about 5-10 minutes here before I have to run. But if you're not gonna have anything to query me on, we can stop a little bit early today. That's totally fine with me. I gotta get prepped for my day job anyway. So I know El Toro's a guy we talked about earlier, doesn't really believe in quote unquote strategy, although he does play a certain way, right? And I know this, right? You play a certain way all the time. It's still a strategy. It's still your way to play, right? For sure. And I think that's the thing. I think we have to kind of remember like this, like remember what you're doing, practice it, be good at it, be able to rinse and repeat. That's the whole thing. Yes, I have heard about Dicer.ai. Matter of fact, I talked to him. I was kind of holding back on that a little bit. I have talked to the developer. We had a nice Zoom call one day. I've got 2 of my strategies in the application. I'm going to put a bunch of them up there. I'm going to put like the Dallas Drawdown. I'm going to put the 2100 Salute. I'm going to put all the ways that I play, the 5 or 6 ways that I like to play in that app. So they're up there for that. It's a great app. He's working on some ways that we can import the rolls from the roll tracker. So when you're doing your roll tracker, we can export those rolls out. I want to be able to import those rolls in through an API call. That way you can just say, hey, run all this stuff against John's paycheck. Run all this stuff against Jeff's midday Mac rolls. And have them kind of be an automatic, kind of a test runner for craps. I think it's awesome. I would love to see us do that for roulette as well. And have him do a roulette simulator, because it's the same idea, because you got bets all over the damn place. And running a roulette strategy the same way would be kind of cool. That we can do a really good test bet. I think it's pretty cool. Yes, we are all Neo in the Matrix, dodging bullets. That's it. We're just kind of doing one of these things here. That's it. I mean, what did PJ used to say? PJ Strong used to always say you're dodging, you're picking up nickels in front of a steamroller as a craps player. Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. I am moving to a town called Wenatchee, Washington. It is a little town. It's about 25 or 30,000 people. It's over the mountains from Seattle. It's 2 hours from Seattle. It's to the east side of the state. It's deserty. It's where the apples are all made or grown, and apples and cherries come out of there. It's a much different climate than Seattle. It's sunny 300 days a year, hot summers, snow in the wintertime. It's going to be where I base myself from, and I'll still be in Vegas half the year and there half the year, kind of doing the sun dodging thing. But we'll have a nicer house. We'll have less traffic. We'll have less Seattle crazy. We'll have less taxes, and we'll have a better view. The view from my deck is going to be this mountain view with a river, and you're all invited to come smoke cigars and drink whiskey on my deck. So the housewarming party, I'll let you know when it's coming. There are no casinos. No casinos over there, unfortunately. I got to drive 2 hours to a casino now. We're not doing Arizona. We were going to do Arizona. We still may do a vacation house over there, but I'm going to do here for sure. And the main reason for the Wenatchee move is we have family there. My father-in-law is there. He's getting on in years. My wife's sisters are both over there. And our younger nephew lives near there too. So it's about being near all the family as much as we can. The older we get, that becomes more and more important. I can get to a casino easy. I'm not worried about the gambling. I'm not going to move based on that. I will spend a lot of time in Vegas. We're working on a way to, work there half the year and work here half the year. So that'll be a thing at some point, but it's an easy trip to Vegas from Wenatchee. A little plane to Seattle, a plane over there. It's no big deal. But yeah, we were going back and forth, Arizona, Vegas, Seattle. There's not enough drive, not enough pull for Arizona for me. So that's where we are. Duracell says, PC, I'd love to build a platform people can join and submit the content, sit back and collect checks. Yeah. People can pay to join and submit the content. I'd like more details on that. I'm a developer, right? So I know that Jalanpan wants me to write something too. Let's think about what this platform looks like. I'm down for that. All right. That's it. 8:45, y'all. Again, I'll leave you with this last little thought here, which is this. Remember everybody, right? We've experienced a lot of loss recently. We had the loss with the Robinsons, right? We had the loss of Regina yesterday, the loss of Howard yesterday. We talked earlier about John Patrick is getting on in years. Nobody's getting any younger. Waylon said this. I don't remember where he said this. He said it in one of the chats on one of the live streams yesterday, and I think it bears repeating. Waylon, if you want to say it again in chat here, matter of fact, I wish you would so it sticks in the video. Hug your family every day, please. I mean, tomorrow ain't guaranteed. Tomorrow's not a guarantee. We wake up in the morning by the grace of God to do something. We're here to do something. And I feel like every day that you wake up, you're fulfilling part of your purpose, right? God's given you another chance to get it right and do what you're supposed to do in this world every day. It's not a guarantee. At some point, you're going to complete that purpose and it's going to be your time, right? Make sure you say, I love you to everybody in your life. Don't go to bed angry, right? All those things are so important, right? And Waylon has said this a number of times and he says it beautifully. Brian from Holy Roller has said it to me beautifully as well. It's so important to not forget that, right? Louis says it right. We are so strong together, right? This community is strong. We're good friends, all of us. And your family's a big deal, right? I'm moving to a not where I was thinking I was going to move, but it's all about the family, right? It's all about keeping family close. And I think that's, it's can't say it enough how important that stuff is. So just keep everybody in your hearts, right? Keep everybody in your hearts. Be happy, love one another, and it's all good. We don't have to agree on everything here, folks, but we all have to exist copacetically. So with that said, I'm out. I'm done being a softie. I'm out of here. Have a great have a great Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk about goals. Friday we'll probably talk about excess play or exposure, and we'll get back to the regular rhythm hopefully next week. Here's what Waylon says: hug your family and friends. Tell them you love them every chance you get. Never go to bed angry. None of us are promised tomorrow. Waylon, thank you for that final thought. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate all of you. Love every one of you. God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.